I think if you're Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor, and you look at what you've just said, she gets a bit worried. This is not a great outcome for her. She has got all of these pressures on her. First of all, she's got the political people in Downing Street saying, we want to win the next election. What is the evidence at the moment? Governments in power which win elections tend to be governments which have rising living standards, that people feel better off at the end of the parliament than at the beginning. I think it's pretty compelling that Kamala Harris lost to Donald Trump because people felt worse off at the end of the 4 years of Biden. Inflation had been high, so prices had gone up. Their wages hadn't really grown. If you look at the Office of Budget Responsibility and ask how much they think living standards are going to rise this Parliament, they say for Britain, this will be the second lowest rise in living standards of any Parliament since the Second World War. And the only Parliament worse for living standards than their forecast is the last Parliament, the Boris Johnson, Rishi Sunak 4 years. Rachel Reeves needs stronger growth so that she can get living standards up, but also she's got big pressure from the Defence Secretary saying it's a dangerous world and we should be spending more on defence. She's got Wes Streeting, the Secretary of State for Health, saying we have huge needs in the National Health Service and social care. She's got the Home Secretary saying we need more police in the streets and more prisons because crime has been high. And it's very hard for her on the basis of the budget numbers to deliver more public spending through the Parliament unless she's got more resources. And at the moment, she can't do that unless she gets more growth. If you look at your chart and think, I hope they're wrong, this whole Parliament, politically, and also in terms of public services, is going to turn on, are the things that she's saying and doing going to be good for growth or bad for growth? Some people in business say she's just raised taxes on employers, that will be bad for growth. She says, I know, but this is about investing in green technology, it's about trying to turn around falling transport investment. These are all things which are going to help our economy to grow more strongly.
Now, Ed, with that, really quick. Now, investment takes it's a long-term thing. It takes 25, 30 years to see the real returns on those investments that Rachel Reeves is trying to put forward. Obviously, this parliament will be 4 to 5 years. We saw that in the United States with, like as you mentioned, with Kamala, Biden putting in massive infrastructure and green technology investments that on paper looked to benefit the US, but people did not see that benefit, whether it was in their paychecks or whether it was in the prices at the grocery store. How can Rachel Reeves and this government convince people that those investments are worth it, that they're coming, that they're the best stewards to continue that, even though the actual effects might not be seen in this first term?
You don't make a start with a long-term plan unless you make a start. She will have to fight the next election, saying, we're on the right track, stick with it, don't blow it. She knows that if she wants to turn around transport investment in the UK, one of the things which is really striking about Britain is if you look outside London at other cities, Leeds, Manchester, Birmingham, Glasgow, Edinburgh, all around the UK, Cardiff, Belfast too, our non-capital cities are much further behind the capital city, London, in terms of productivity, incomes, quality of jobs, than comparably cities in France, Germany and America. There's something about our other cities which haven't worked well. I think if you look at the evidence, the transport networks around them are much less good than American or European cities. As a consequence, the effective labour markets are smaller, it's harder to get skilled people to commute into the city centres, but it takes years to turn around local transport. The Elizabeth line, which we now have working in London, the decision to do that was made back in 2007. So you have to get on and do it. If you look at what's happened in America in the last week and a half, whatever you think about Donald Trump and his economic plan, big rise in the stock market, lots of people thinking maybe America's going to grow more strongly, companies thinking, well actually, maybe I want to be part of that. Companies thinking, maybe I need to make sure I've got the skilled workforce in the right place. if you can get a sense of dynamism and direction, if you can start to unleash companies starting to invest and the government's doing its bit, that's how you create an atmosphere, an environment where people are trying to get the best workers, come and work here, the stock market starts to rise. The stock market does not tell you what's happening to profits today. The stock market tells you what investors think is going to happen in the next 5 or 10 years. If the stock market's rising, people feel better off, that drives more investment. So what you've got to do as a Chancellor, even if you know the investment is going to take time to come through, you've got to get a sense of momentum and dynamism, and which becomes self-fulfilling. There's a phrase the economist Keynes used in the 1930s. The 1930s was a very flat period for growth in Britain and the world. It was actually a place when there was a big trade war. There were lots of American tariffs, which really depressed international trade. And what Keynes said was that the animal spirits of the economy are depressed. People's excitement and drive and dynamism is all being bottled up and suppressed. Rachel Reeves has got to get a sense in this economy that the animal spirits are moving.